bum, 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 bum. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of 7 Days of Summer Lost Alpha. I'm overjoyed. I'm overjoyed today. I'm having a great time. For the first time in a bit, I'm having a blast playing this fucking thing. Because Semyon is being a slightly better person. Does this mean I believe him? Of course not. Of course not. I don't believe him at all. But he's improving. We are seeing visible improvement. And that's commendable. Even for Semyon. You know what he's like. And oh, boy do you know what he's like. Because an even band across the entire surface giving away the owner's complete lack of bra. Oh man. What a man. That's how I missed the best part. I just feel something in you, just waiting to be dragged out. So do I, Semyon. And thrown on the fan? I asked politely. What? I knew I was saying unnecessary and empty things again. You see, Slavya, you're very biased. Here we go. Just when I just got done praising you, Semyon. You cannot do this to me after I just said you're doing great. You've been babysitting me for 4 days now, and even yesterday. Anyway, get it out of your head and don't look for anything good in me. Let's look for something in you. Like what? I don't know. Oil? Slavya smiled politely. If you simplify things to the extreme, you get a boring man who's forced to play by rules he's not very used to. Why, it's not very clear. You probably should get him. I pointed to Situationship, rushing about his business, looking extremely businesslike. He mumbled something to himself, waving his right hand, and looked wild and disheveled. All that was missing was half a bald head and glasses of the caliber of phantasmal dioptries to create a full-fledged image of the mad scientist. Although Shudik would look much more confident in this role. Electronic is funny, but very keen. When we first moved here, and he and Sasha hadn't become friends, he was going from extreme to extreme, borrowing all kinds of books from the library, constantly looking for something, trying to learn. You mean he was in the library day and night? Yes. Slavya laughed. Until Sasha took him to his club. He used his talents. The day was pushed to the back of my imagination. Sacred simplicity. To think that a man infuriates a librarian with his presence simply because he has nothing better to do. Brr. I'm not sure what that... It's just BRRR. What am I supposed to say about that? Not enough context clues. I had a slightly different version of the behavior of Situationship, but all comes in good time. We know those two have a thing. That is implied even in the original game. This is very clear. It's a little off topic to discuss with a girl. Especially with such a beautiful girl. Okay. He still doesn't value himself. But at least he stopped explicitly running away from his problems. He has decided to stop addressing them outright. Is that an improvement? Yes. Is it any good? No. Although sometimes I don't think it's about interests. Slavya blushed a little. Well, yes, and I didn't have to say anything. We can't know for sure. I came to her rescue. Yes, I hummed. That's the atmosphere. Patriarchal, calm, judgmentless. Random himself told me to find a subject for sighing, and, in fact, to sigh. What about you? Me? What do you mean? In terms of admirers, of course, silly girl. There are understandably only 3 guys in the first squad, of whom I am sexless. Electronic has a crush on the librarian, and Shudik seems to be married to his hobby. Both cybernetics and the wall newspaper. Do you find your place in the camp fast? Yes. She smiled serenely. It's not the first time I've ever been here. I've been here, so Olga Dmitrievna knows me. She put me straight to the point. And the boys? Pink. I asked before I knew what I was even doing. I guess I'm not so sexless. What? Asked Slavya. Her ears flashed. He didn't mean to. Did you meet anyone interesting? Oh, you know, it's such a subject. Personal. You know? What a delicate form of wishful thinking. I delighted. I'm sorry, but I think it's too early for me to think about such things. She was still red. Apparently she doesn't have to talk about these things very often. Especially with members of the opposite sex. Get a clue, Semyon. Pretty please. Pretty please, with a cherry on top. Potential candidates, even if their full potential fits between 0 and a 100th. I have to study first, and... Oh, what great talk. Blues is stockish. Giving out not only the owner of said stocking in the owner, but also a person who's never really been in love. It doesn't give me an advantage by any means, just some things fall into place. In particular, her perfectionism. Pure sublimation. What is this man talking about? You don't have to tell me all those things. I got the hint from the first time. Don't get your dirty hands where they're not asked. You're too mean to yourself. You are, Semyon. And even that's not meant as flirting. You're just genuinely terrible to yourself. You've learned to be not terrible to other people. Congratulations. The bar is in the fucking lithosphere. But you still need to learn to be nicer to yourself. Slavya sighed. The reluctance to directly forbid me to discuss such topics says something too. The camp bounced over the camp with joyous eighths, using the pioneers to hurry to fill their stomachs. And to the high inspection, on the other hand, hinting that it was time to surrender their credentials and vacate the territory. The sleepy calm of the morning was instantly shattered, the unkind tension of waiting for you to make a mistake, something I forgot to read. To make a mistake and thereby expose your friends and comrades to the faces of the evaluating officers. I don't know about the others, but that's the feeling I had whenever I got caught up in any kind of test or exam. Slavya went up. Are you busy after lunch? She asked. I shrugged. Because what is he gonna do? Why? It's the kid's bath day from 6 o'clock. I don't see the connection. He's blind. I need them to get ready for a change of clothes and bedding. Would you keep me company at the warehouse? May I? You may. Violetta called back from the porch, locking the infirmary. I didn't know I had to ask permission, but okay. And knowing her, I'm sure she won't burden you. Shall we go, pioneer girl? She shook the pots. Slavya nodded. Wait here for me, she instructed me in an almost commanding tone. Flashbang for some fucking reason. They left, leaving me alone. That's how it goes. They don't forget about you, no. They don't sideline you. They just periodically show you how defective you are now, that you can't even go to the canteen because you're overworked and all. Work and glory to heroes, yeah. To the parody pilots. It's a worldly thing. Nobody owes anybody anything, despite the carefully planted human values. Maybe in 200 years, if we're lucky, humanity will grow up to Efremov or Bulyachev's communism, where characters like Dara the Wind and Alisa Selezneva are possible. But not now. God damn you, Khrushchev. And not here. God damn you, Khrushchev. And yet even the local communism under construction looks good compared to the ugliness I got here from. Because it is. But don't let the CIA know I told you that. Though it doesn't feel like warm orange romance of the country I went to kindergarten and graduated in another country. On the square, a huge mantle flag with a sickle and a hammer symbol had already been untied, and a triangular flag with the colors of the squadron on duty was promptly tied in its place. The Platz, swept with crowbars, was swiftly settled by the dust, and the tense stiffness disappeared from the posture. That's it. The higher-ups sparked and departed. This isn't the IRS or socials, where the higher-ups from the capital are buzzing around on a book shipped for a week and banally paralyzing the unit's work. Here it's fast, angry, and completely geschäft-free. Now it was up to the evening to relax, of course, trying to remember that not all the adults had left. Some of them would be kicked out until after supper. We had to live. I wonder what our cyberneticists are doing now, cut to them burning some shit down. If it wasn't for their request, I'd be running around with everyone else right now, pretending to be very active. And okay, there might have been an impression about Situationship, the guy's obviously a coward. But I didn't expect that from our cybernetics genius. And why, one might ask, haven't the two of them visited the sick man yet? To be fair, yeah, they are responsible. They should be the first ones in for last ones out. And that's why they don't give a damn about a comrade who, through their fault, has further mangled an already long abandoned brain. I bet they ran right after breakfast to fix their robot with new parts. I wouldn't be surprised if it were true. Rumor has it he was trying to build a robot for at least a couple years now. According to him, of course, to try to realize the world's first artificial intelligence. You're late. Several decades too late. Although some people speculated that he's assembled a robotic cat girl for carnal and mental pleasure. Good for him, man. anything to get engineering going. Hey, communism's got to be automated somehow. If it's got to be a cat girl, then fine by me. And the bespectacled man didn't bat an eye, he just worked on the machine. He doesn't ask questions. The literate pioneers used to laugh at him, but Shudik's reaction was always the same. He said that artificial intelligence is the next stage of evolution, and someday robots will live on the planet together with humans. I take back what I said. But he never once explained how he came to the conclusion, or why he even believes that a piece of metal will be able to think and talk. And it didn't matter that children were already grown to love Werther, and library shelves were bursting with works of science fiction. To the pioneers, his confidence was ridiculous. A couple of times Shudik tried to explain something, to tell them about the future, but it was all to no avail. What does he know? So our genius shut himself in and worked. A shift left, a new shift came, and it was like he didn't even notice. And there would be nothing to tell if one evening a couple of junior pioneers didn't hear Shudik talking to someone sitting in the clubs. The story I'd just been told didn't fit in my head. That's just fiction. I don't know if the inner voice made it up or if it really happened. Anyway, all the more or less sophisticated technology here, and if I ever need anything from here, which is doubtful, given the local level of technology, I can find it here. Like a phone charger? The subconscious innocently inquired. Hello? Someone stepped into the sun, raised my head. The voice is familiar. No kidding, it was that voice that sent me into an uncontrollable dive towards the ground yesterday. How are you? What's the saying? Speak of the devil, and he doth appear? I'd tell you. Well, I'm sorry about that. Can you at least tell me why the hell the radio doesn't work? You see, there's a problem. Oh, you betcha. He looked depressed, and it wasn't about today's commission at all. There was something else. So what is it? You see, he fixed his glasses against his trademark gesture, which looked pathetic and inappropriate in his performance. I can't go in there. Let me guess, your religion forbids it? No, he grimaced. When I try to get into the clubs, I feel a strange sensation in my whole body, like I've done something really bad. Great. A leak of laughing gas? Gas? But Electronico's in there easy and doesn't feel anything. So he's immune. That could happen. Did you look for the source? He looked. I don't even know where to go now. Why aren't you coming to lunch? Shudik got embarrassed. I just tried to go in again. Yeah, and? It occurred to me, too, that it might be the gas, so I tried not to breathe. Nauseated after a minute. He did look greenish. Now I can't think about food. Okay, stop. Were you okay yesterday? Yeah. We were just finishing up a project yesterday. And then I climbed up on the roof and put the power back on your equipment. The concept of a sci-fi synthesizer producing a special anti-Shudik gas the whole time it's plugged in popped into my head. Maybe it's not the gas, but the vibration? It's too high or low to be heard. Are you hinting at an infrasound curtain? This man has just got a tiny little Alex Jones living inside his brain and telling him random bullshit. I remember getting hit by one once. The impression's rocking. Sort of. Maybe there's a scarecrow deratizers so rodents don't chew on the wiring. It's unlikely a human would feel it the way Shudik describes. Not the same frequencies, not the same power. Maybe. But what if that very scarecrow had broken down and was now phoning in just the right range? Well, it's worth checking out. Did Slavya forgive us too? Forbid us to? I don't know if she did. But if I have the option to listen to Slavya, I will. I don't want that man to get me more trouble than it's worth. I like him, but he's too much goddamn trouble. So I can't. I see. Well, can you at least just stand there so we can compare impressions? Sorry, no. He's more trouble than he's worth. This morning was like Groundhog Day. It went on and on. Lunch came, but the feeling was that I was still in a frantic and matey morning didn't go anywhere. Viola was gone, Slavya was gone, Olga was gone. 3 people who had struggled to pretend they cared about my fate had just revealed their true selves to the world. The bandage I took off, all that was left was a patch of hair on the cropped back of my head. The hair must have been a mess. What do I care, though? I only get my hair cut when it gets in the way of smoking and drinking tea at the same time. I'm not gonna conquer the girls with this hair, am I? Never heard that one before. The low clubhouse drew in and out of my thoughts, and fleeing them, I circled the infirmary once more, looking for something useful to me now. If he keeps doing this, he's going to get a headache, and it was found very quickly. A rope holder on which was attached a ladder leading to this attic to the attic and roof. 1 minute and I'm up there. Why is he up there? What compelled him to? Since everyone left me, I'm gonna hide from everyone. Why? Let's see you run then. You run. I sat at the window, looking down and reveling in my own meanness. The mood was cheerful. You sure about that? Anticipatory. So I didn't notice how I fell asleep. What is this man's problem? The semicircular gate, adorned with a single 5-pointed star and sharp pegs on top, reluctantly gave way under demanding hands. I'm gonna keep it $1. I honestly kind of prefer Semyon, the original Semyon's just outright laziness and apathy to everything, than this man's deliberate seek out of things that will make him less existent in the world that he's in. He is actively trying to prevent his existence and his share of the pie in this whole scenario, which is ridiculous. At least the other Semyon had a excuse to be tired. He carried sugar around, and Olga made him do shit, and this and that. Fair enough. The kid's tired, and he just came back from the 21st century. He's got to have the attention span of a worm. There's no way you can make him walk around all day in a camp. This man should know better. The right servo was a little jammed, but I was used to it and distributed the power so as to not feel the inevitable misalignment. You are aware that this is a closed facility, and you hear... What the fuck was that? The fingers gathered into a metal fist struck the black-haired man just below the chin. We fight so desperately for life that we're willing to take it from others and not even feel remorse. Such a useful thing was helping the handicapped, the legless, the partially paralyzed. What did that man do with it when he got his hands on the finished device? That's right, put in a circular saw and a 6-barreled machine gun. Slavya tossed it dimly gleaming around to the sky, and it exploded in the air, flying a bunch of needles. Another second. The perimeter is ready. Give the signal and I'll send this place to the moon, she reported. Well done. Give me 10 minutes and then you can go ahead. But how? Did you really think we were going to do this quickly and go home? From the look in her eyes, that's what she thought. You silly girl. Like it's so hard to understand that once you volunteered to go into that hellish machine that burns body and metal, that there's no going back for you. You're what all the intelligence agencies of all time call a meltdown, a disposable agent, expendable material to be spared during an assignment. Even though now I move several times faster than the average man, much stronger and resilient than he is, I'm not going back, and that's obvious. Try to survive. She understood everything. She stroked my cheek and stepped back, hiding her gleaming eyes. 10 minutes, you hear? And click. That's an order. And if you don't come out? You heard everything. Stupid girl. I guess that's all they're there for. Girls like that, to be taken advantage of by scoundrels like me. I'm well aware that even my costume won't help here, but her perimeter, it would be much more useful. And after kicking the door open, I jumped into the dark room, bristling with 9mm rounds. The air thickened and thickened, the colors shifted to the purple spectrum, and my knees crunched hard. A second in this state cost me a year of my life. But continuing time now is like giving up a cigarette on your deathbed. They say it's bad for you. After 2 minutes of fighting and 8 minutes of waiting in an empty room, I finally waited. Slavya did what I brought her here to do. Showed her unnecessary loyalty and heroism. The perimeter shuddered, the walls bounced, and the beams beneath the ceiling shuddered and slowly crept downward. The room began to fold, grinding everything inside, including even... Her eyes were calm, a little excited, even though all hell was breaking loose. I did as you said, and now I've come to save you. And to take you to the clinic, where the carriers will be removed from your body, the neural interface of the exoskeleton, and we'll all live happily ever after. And a whole bunch of other things she could have said. Stupid, inappropriate, fantastical things. But instead she rudely poked me with a gun which she got from somewhere I don't know where. Don't like it, do you? Don't like it. Only you're not dragging me anywhere, you understand that, don't you? I didn't come here for nothing. I didn't just lie down in a machine where is no return and now flaunt service fused to flesh for no reason. But primarily so that no one ever again would have the opportunity to tamper with someone else's brains and rearrange them as the operator pleases, whenever someone wants to twist the controls. And in case she doesn't realize it, I know full well that all it takes to destroy a device is for it to be recreated by hard-working robots tirelessly, day and night, ready to do their duty. It is useless to fight them, for they are produced on an avalanche-like scale in an underground assembly hall, in a basalt pocket that cannot be penetrated from outside by a nuclear charge. The system is simple, closed, and frighteningly homeostatic. The only way to change anything is to shut down the entire system at once, in a multi-way, complex operation that simultaneously disables the assembly circuits, programmers, and power bubble generators. Is Semyon a fucking KGB agent that is trying to use Slavya, who is apparently a robot, to commit terrorism upon Slavyanok? Because if so, that sounds really cool, but also not what I'm going for. Besides, this is a dream. This is a dream. I hope this is clear to everyone that this is a dream, and I said I wouldn't listen to Semyon, and Semyon's dreams count as Semyon, because his thought process is very weird and very stupid. I'm just not going to listen to him. I will certainly narrate this. Will it be foreshadowing for something? I don't know. I certainly hope not. I have better things to do than to deal with some, metaphysical bullshit. I'm going to be frank with you. I'm here for the Slavya. I'm not here for no robots, no KGB agents, and no terrorism. I'm here for the Slavya. A method for the powerful. And all I have is my suit, which is painfully torn by shunts at junction with flesh and infinite determination. And Slavya, good girl, only she has no future as a soldier, because she wasn't created to protect, but to recreate. I sat down and threw myself at her. With a broken leg, my performance looked questionable, even to me, but the juice in her hands has coughed belchily. And a sharp, red-hot nail was driven into my chest. Slavya took a step back with her hands over her mouth, looking disbelievingly at her own hands. Her eyes rounded with horror. How is it? I couldn't get out. The pulse discharge system doesn't work if the operator intentionally hurt himself or decided to commit suicide. Oh no, the suit is able to get the operator out of situations where he would inevitably die, able to keep him awake by drugging him with morphine or antibiotics. No surprise, this prototype is one-to-one stolen from the HevMax from the never-released third Half-Life in my homeworld. But if the operator is threatened, the program is triggered so as to prevent the enemy from taking over the skeleton. I'm not leaving you here. Run, you idiot! A few thoughts packaged together like a wireless network went to her. Come on, girl honors, the only witch in the course with an empathy quotient above 90%. When better than now to unleash your potential? That's right, we've been developing cybernetic increments, reality augmentation systems, firmly believing that humans are weak and fragile. So behind the mile-long lines to implant free network access points with 100% coverage across the globe, behind the silicone flesh that makes an android indistinguishable from a homo ape, behind the ever-accelerating pace of life, we began to forget one thing. Man is a living being, and living things evolve. I don't like your technocratic society, Semyon. Whatever you're doing, whatever you're selling, I ain't buying, yo. Socialism is workers and peasants and people. Clankers aren't people. Glory to the Soviet Union. Who could have known that basic empathy and pity would be the key to becoming a superhuman? That empathy and suggestion would be stronger than silicone substrates and steel plate. Alright, let's not be stronger. Let's just play by different rules. A blink and a figure in a light scouting suit runs out of the clubs. How long is this going to take? Because I want to end on a happy note. I don't want to end with stupid technocratic Slavya. She looked back at me one more time and leaped out of the crumbling building in 3 laps, and it became unnecessary and useless, as I always have been ever since I assembled my first working prototype 22 years ago, a snub-nosed, chunky one connected to a stationary power supply. Can I keep it $1? Is this going to be is this foreshadowing? I hope it's not foreshadowing. I hope it's just like sneak peeks of a different route, and if it is sneak peeks of a different route, then that's nice, but I don't care. I really don't. This is not where I want to go, and if it is where I end up going, I'm sorry, but I don't feel like continuing the playthrough. Now these things are called last chance and are kept in reserve along with the EO and aircraft and armored personnel carriers simply because a modern servo-driven suit can do all the same things and does not require splicing integration into the human body. There were events in Tver. The separatists again deployed government agitators against the agitators themselves when they found that they were using psychogenics. In Moscow, the business towers burned down. The boastful robo-cavalry couldn't stand up to our strong-armed men, who can break all the software and security systems on their laptops, 20 years outdated, at their knees. In St. Petersburg, the revolution was practically built this. The corporations simply moved their production facilities and offices out of the city, and after the first person was crucified at the Alexander Column. Chat! This sounds lame. I don't like it. I don't like this. This is stupid. Russia smoked and smoked at the crossroads, and the surrounding aspen trees were decorated with bluish snowdrops, and institutions were hurriedly introducing restored GOS standards for the hardware in use. The revolution had passed its peak, the difficult moment called by someone the Pugachev limit, and now the purging of the country's territory was simply a matter of time in such pinpoint operations. What is this, the Great Trial? Sergei Taboritsky, is that you? Wow! I didn't expect to find you here. Russia went on living, except that I continued to be unnecessary. Why don't we focus on the other countries? The other 192 motherfuckers that are still somewhere. And when the auxiliary energy tanks almost burst from excess energy. Also, notice how he said Russia, not the Soviet Union. That means we don't like. That means we don't like it and we don't care about it. And I exhaled, confirming the initiation of the suicide bomb. There was silence in the world for a moment. Rainbow, weightless silence of the forgiving and the forgiven man. What is possible only alone with death, which you have so long sought. As soon as this crap is done, I'm gonna, like, keep it way in the back of my mind where I don't have to think about it. Because this is not only boring and not what I want, but it sounds like the type of thing that would make me really mad. That I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end it doesn't even matter. And everyone who has heard that silence understood for a split second who he was and what he was. So did I. Are you done? Nice. Congratulations for being done. Never do that again. That was stupid. That was really, how you say, extra. That was really extra. No need for all that. Viola was sitting in the same spot again. Sonia's on her screen changed to poker, but overall everything was exactly the same as it had been since this morning. Had a nice sleep? Without turning around, she asked. Excuse me? Pioneer, I know it's useless to tell you to take care of yourself, not to run around and excite yourself. And you fed me sleeping pills? Viola broke away from the game and turned to me. You what? Sleeping pills are harmful in these conditions and incompatible with most of the medications I've been using on you. Just a sedative. I raised an eyebrow incredulously. Okay, it was a tranquilizer. It's harmless. Mostly. Mostly? As you could see, it causes drowsiness. It also causes some fucked up dreams, apparently. Jesus Christ, don't scare me like that. I don't need no techno hell. Even the dreams in the original game scared me, and those also meant absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of things. And tell me if we could find the rash anywhere. Ah! I screamed in panic, and the nurse didn't hold back her smile. Just kidding, just kidding. In case you haven't noticed, you've been asleep all day. Well, goddammit, whose fault is that? So I missed lunch? I switched to more pressing matters. Very pressing matters. I tell you what, it's supper in 15 minutes. But since you've been behaving yourself and snoozing in my attic all day, I see no reason to keep you any longer. How are you feeling? I did a cursory diagnostic and admitted Viola was right. The sleep did do me good. Yup. Get yourself cleaned up and head for the canteen. Your pioneer girl is already instructed and waiting. Thank you. I was worrying about that. Is that the one I'm dating? I couldn't help myself. Viola's eyelid crept down in a slow wink. Okay, buddy. Oh, also, I forgot to point this out the first time. Yeah, we are definitely stuck in that route. I forgot to point this out last time I saw her. She does not have a scarf on. Should I be worried about that? Is that something I should be keeping in mind? There was a loudspeaker on the left-hand side of the handout, now broadcasting something bravura and patriotic, and a line of pioneers with strays stretched out. That's right. The parents have scattered, the ones they fed are sleeping in the cabins, and the especially hungry have reached here in search of provisions. A few minutes later, the speaker started coughing, grunting, and heavy guitar riffs flown out instead of marches. And I had a rough idea whose authorship this diversion was. Well, not exactly authorship. Most likely, in the Ginger Tandem, Alisa was again the thinker and generator of ideas, and Uliana served as the executor. The counselor looked at the speaker, shifted her gaze out to our tables, but said nothing. She looked exhausted. The children's concert seemed to have worn her out. I let Slavya go ahead of me, and I myself joined the keel and looked around. Our tables were surprisingly full. It looked as if the pioneers of our squad had either not been visited by their parents, or were noticeably more focused and businesslike. Gave out their portion of weasel and smoked sausage, packed up, and took off. Perfect parents. That music isn't going to be distracting at all. With great difficulty, I was able to find free seats just down the aisle right next door to the radio terrorists. They were talking about something, chuckling quietly at the confused faces of the pioneers, who realized that from now on, something not exactly pioneer-like was playing on the air. Everything went on in its own way. The crowd was only disorganized at first glance. But I've been in that kitchen. I've got the centers of interest figured out. We had the redheads. There were bursts of laughter from the second squad, where a certain curly-haired lad of about 14 was conducting his benefit. The third squad was a slightly flatter mass, but there too was a picture of the splitting of the collective. A vaguely familiar red-eyed pioneer nodded to me for some reason. Oh, thank God that's over. Olga Dmitrievna and Viola, seated at the same table as Miku, again engaged in an endless discussion of the degrees of freedom available to the pioneer. Perpetuum dispute, my ass. Olga was sure that there was a reason the camps were stocked with bromine, albeit not as tangible as military units. A reason emergency first aid kits included rubber products and emergency contraception like Postinor. Does he know? It all serves to fight the consequences, she hotly preached. And my job as counselor is to prevent the situation itself. Something tells me you're gonna do a very bad job at that. At least on my watch. And how are you gonna do that? Youth will find its way everywhere. You can't keep track of everyone. Slavya was a little embarrassed at these words for some reason. Chinny reckon something's gonna happen. Some unpleasant memories, it seems. I don't need that. Olga smiled. I chose the most problematic ones, and I work with them. Like with Semyon. The name drop is crazy. Miku giggled when she saw that I had my ears pricked up, but she didn't say anything. It's very good that Slavyana took over. I already had an experience last year with a pioneer like him. And I remember very well how it ended. The nurse grinned. Is that how you're gonna handle touchy situations with possible immorality? It works, and it's not bad. The counselor shook her head. And I think we're being overheard. She waved her fist at me without turning around and lowered her voice so that it could no longer be made out over the noise of pioneers talking. You watch it, Semyon. Slavyana smiled. Watch and remember, because tomorrow everything may be different. Other rules, other people. A hint that every night is unique in its own way? Yes. Somebody you might not see tomorrow. Somebody will not pay attention to you. Somebody will have more problems and somebody will solve them. Life, Semyon. That's my passion. Good for you. You gotta have that. That's it? Life? Yes. When you see what's going on, understand it, and can create the conditions, you feel like you're doing something good. Correct. Are you hinting at sweeping the square? I'd certainly love to, but there's other shit to do. You can say that too if you want. Did it ever occur to you that this would all end one day? How old are you? Next year they won't let you in anymore. It never ends, you know. I don't like those words. I don't like what those words imply. As long as a man cares, to hell with it. Dance. We'll keep helping each other. Smile a little happier. Again, Soviet optimism shines through. Shines through, but it is not ionizing enough to penetrate through the mind of a thick-skulled Russian Federation type of guy. One day it might not matter. Example given. To everyone? Slavya shook her head. It's very hard for me to imagine such a thing. But even if the whole universe hardens, there's always some warmth in a man's heart. God, I hope you keep that attitude in 2 years' time, Slavya. Even in yours, Semyon. One day you'll realize that's all that really matters. She smiled again and hid behind a glass of Kissel. And I thought, even if she's deluded, I'd damn well like to be a part of that delusion. I'll have what she's having. Because it's always cozy, comfortable, and the dust particles dance in the sunlight streaming through the curtains. You seem to seriously believe all this nonsense. If you keep calling it nonsense, you're going to miss out on a very important part of understanding the world around you, Semyon. It's not nonsense. What I said. The girl's eyes twinkled. That's how I was raised my whole life, and that's how I'll raise my children. With Soviet optimism. Harsh manifesto, what can I say? Have you tried to ballot? I did not finish. Straight to our table, dragged the tray, Lenyochka Tikhanovna, in full accordance with her surname, quiet and on her mind. There she is. May I sit? I shrugged my shoulders and Slavya moved over the bench. Come on down. Heard that already? Of course. It's still playing. Redheads, catching her stare, laughed out again. They were definitely pleased with themselves. What happened to Alexander? I can't find him anywhere, and I have underdeveloped photos and underwritten articles. That doesn't sound like him. He's a very responsible young man. Only a little distracted and out of touch, but I don't think that's bad. After all, any mad scientist is accompanied by a lab assistant who's wholeheartedly in love with him. I know, Hollywood movies told me. We have to look for him then. Let's do it together. Lena got embarrassed. No, it's not. It's uncomfortable. Everything is comfortable. Slavya answered in an unapologetic tone. Semyon's been through a lot, judging by the way he slept all day, so I'm not taking him with me, and it's kind of sad to go alone. Hey, what does that mean? I couldn't believe my ears. What do you mean you're not taking me with you? Semyon, don't argue, please. You're acting like a child. I only sighed. as much as I agree with Semyon, I also have to say that he brought it upon himself with all the stupid bullshit that he's been saying over the past couple days. What else could I do? Did you talk about Shurik? Oh, is Shurik missing? I don't want... I don't have time for this shit. I don't have time for Shurik to be missing. And, good thing I talked about time, because I do not want to go over my recording. So, with that little bombshell of Shurik might be missing and Slavya is not taking me with her to find him, we're going to end this episode. So, thank you for watching today's episode of 7 Days of Summer Lost Alpha, and I'll see you in the next one.